to grow. So,
That takes a lot of self-reliance and discernment, which is a huge, I say it's one of the most valuable skills of being a dedicated yoga practitioner, is relying on your own ability to be a critical thinker, to make your own decisions. You have a teacher, but like you said, they're human. And certainly maybe you've experienced this. Obviously, you went through it on the other end, but people putting another person up on a pedestal,
yeah.
right? And then it's not really fair to either. And then when all of a sudden, you show some humanness, and then and they get so angry, right? So this ability for you to take those experiences and say, enough's enough. I'm going to do this in the way that I know is true. And I have strong, healthy boundaries. I've done my inner work. It's such a beautiful thing because, a lot of people aren't that courageous, aren't that brave. Certainly you
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
skills, experience, and the heart behind it. And because of that, such beautiful offerings to people. So thank you for, taking those experiences and doing as you're teaching, which is like using them as stepping stones.
Thank you so much. I didn't really have that perspective, but yeah, I'd say you know, I turned my wound into something that I can recognize in others and support them through it better.
Mm, mm,
And oh, the pedestal thing, it was such a big thing that I did. And a lot of it is I put someone up on a pedestal because I had so little esteem for myself.
mm.
And in a way, when you make someone else perfect or put them up like they could do no wrong, a lot of times I call that shadow hugging. Like shadow boxing is when you really judge someone. And, we
Mm.
take people off the pedestal right away. Like we judge them as, not being okay or good at what they're doing or, oh, they always have an attitude. What's wrong with that person? That I call that shadow boxing. And whatever it is that we judge, there's a certain flip side to that. Then you have to look really closely, but somewhere
Mhm.
that person lives inside of us and we don't
Mhm.
like that part of us. So we project it out and box them. And the putting someone up on a pedestal is called shadow hugging. And you put all those positive qualities that you don't give to yourself onto someone else
Mm,
by putting yourself down. And that
mm,
was one of my lessons is, you know what? I need to esteem myself. I need to put myself in high esteem or high regard. Basically, to love, figure out how to love myself in a way that's clear, that's authentic, that's not puffed up, like too expanded, like too arrogant,
sure, sure.
and also that's not too humble. I think we can be a little too humble. Like when our humility doesn't serve us. And I had a friend point that out to me. And it was right after the news of the scandal came out and I was going to leave the ashram. And I had trained thousands of teachers in this method. And one of my friends knew that. And we were taking a walk and said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a job anymore. I don't know how I'm going to make any money. I'm just like a yoga teacher. And this was back in, when was this? Was in the mid 90s.
Mm,
And he said, well, Todd, you did train over 1,000 teachers. And don't you think that some of those teachers would love to bring you to their studios, like to share you with their students? I said, wow, I hadn't thought about that. And then he said, I don't think your humility is serving you right now.
ooh, that's a good friend right there to call you out like that. That's great.
I just couldn't value myself.
Mm.
So,
Well, on the spiritual path, it's I think that the mark of someone who is doing the inner work, there is a certain level of humility, certainly, and respect and all these things. I have the good fortune of having my Ashtanga teacher. She's now teaching at my studio and came in with such humility and, like not bowing to me, but she like gave me a gift and she's like, I'm so honored. And I was like, oh, we're honored. We're
yeah,
so
yeah,
honored. But it was just, you know, humility also is like almost like I don't have I don't have anything to prove because I know that I love me and I love you and there doesn't have to be, like you said, that arrogance. And so I think that's a very attractive quality, certainly. But yeah, then it's like, well, real life, it's like we have to pay bills, we have to live in this world. We're not yogis living in a cave, so you have to share yourself on podcasts and videos and workshops and things, right? You can't just like live for crumbs, like, oh, just give me a piece of fruit and I'll be fine. I know that you had your fast with fruit, so it doesn't end up well. So I agree with that, and that speaks more to your method too of the weaving of what
Exactly.
you said earlier. The With your method, with tantra, it's like taking these sort of fragmented pieces of ourselves and weaving it together. And I'll just share a quick little bit. When I went to India for the first time this past summer, it was
Oh, good for
blew
you.
my mind. It was so amazing. And when people ask me, so many people ask me, what was that like, Erin? And I said, well, there's a lot of great things, but I felt like all of the things I had been learning about yoga were fragmented, sort of crystallized inside of me. And when I was in India and I met different teachers that sort of like stitched it together for me. And
Beautiful.
so when you said that, I was like, oh, I feel that so much. Because you're
Yes.
doing that in yourself. So you're able to teach from that space.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, that's such a beautiful, experience you had. I'm just seeing you stitched together, interwoven. And yeah, it's really about, when I said earlier, it's about finding a place of balance to live in the place in the middle.
Mm,
And we definitely need humility, and we need confidence. And
mm,
when we lack confidence, we have so much humility that we're afraid to kind of step out or be seen. And
mm,
if we don't have enough humility, we have all this confidence, then we can tend to move towards arrogance,
mm,
where the ego just takes it on and thinks that, the ego has a tendency towards narcissism. I mean, we all have a little bit of that. But this narcissism is like, then you're the biggest, greatest thing ever, and there's no one better than you. And now I think of the fighter Muhammad Ali, man, he was arrogant.
you
Um,
what?
so the humility, bringing humility to our arrogance brings us to this balanced place, which I think is like a calm confidence, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Love.
a quiet strength. Oh, I like to say it's almost like when you see a picture of the Buddha smiling, there's a knowing inside, but there's
Yeah.
just a little smile, a little
Yeah.
content.
And the narcissist always says, okay, that's enough about me. Now tell me what you think about me.
That's good. Accurate. Um, Todd, when I first talked to you, and this is when I was talking to people about you coming to Thrive, I
Yeah.
said, this was like my little pitch. I said, I was talking with Todd, and he's like, you could tell he's so like divine masculine with feminine, right? He's like very balanced. And I was saying, oh, well, you're delightful. And I think you said the same about me. And you said, well, you've only met the white goddess. I have the black goddess and I have the red goddess. And I just thought that was the best thing ever because it's true. That's what people do. And so when I told people that, they would start like laughing a little bit because, it's just to have a man say that, I think in particular is such a beautiful thing. But I thought maybe you could touch upon that and then we can segue into your presentation that you'll be doing at Thrive, which is aligned with the divine yoga for body, mind, and heart.
Yeah, certainly. Well, there's a teaching about the three goddesses, and there's many different teachings about these three goddesses, and there's many different names of the three goddesses. But the idea is that we have these different parts of ourselves, and the sort of the goddesses depict the different parts of ourselves, the really parts of ourself. And in the Tantra, we don't really want to just know about the goddesses and sort of worship them and ask for their blessings. We actually step into becoming them. We want the
Mm,
experience of becoming the goddess. And the three that I like to teach about are, if you think of a wave, that it comes from the ocean of nothing, and the wave starts to build and then it crests and then the wave falls again and it returns back to the ocean. And we're each, these waves, we're individual waves. And there are classical traditions of yoga that say, we need to not have any desire, and we want to erase the wave because all you are is the ocean. And Tantra is saying, no, we're the ocean, and we're the expression of that ocean, which is the wave. Right. So from the Tantric view, the wave comes from Kali. She represents the absolute darkness and pure potentiality of everything before it's manifested. So light comes out of her. Light's coming out of the darkness. And that's another reason why we embrace the dark, in this path as part of the full spectrum, the dark and light, because the light has to come from somewhere. We say it comes out of the void, out of the darkness. And we think of darkness too, when the sky is the darkest, that's when you can see the stars the brightest. And that seeds only sprout in fertile soil. So in a way, Kali is holding the ground of our being so we can plant seeds of whoever it is we want to be. And then yoga is nourishing that seed throughout the life. So we come out of the darkness, and the first emanation of light is called Saraswati. And she represents knowledge and vibration. She is the spoken word. She is poetry. She is the vibration from music. So this first emanation that comes out is Saraswati. And she's depicted, holding a book, holding a one-string instrument. She has all these, she's, playing, jamming on the guitar. And so she's coming out as sort of the purity of the light, and it's learning and growing itself. And then when she comes into her most refined state, she becomes Lakshmi. And that's the crest of the wave. Lakshmi is the expression of true, ecstatic, sort of orgiastic expression
Shri, right?
of life. She is Shri, and she's giving blessings of abundance and wealth and
making it rain.
Yeah. So she's really the peak experience of our life. And then we can't get attached to her either, because her ultimate eventuality and her goal is return to source as well. So eventually the wave crests, and then it falls and it returns back to the source of all that is, where it came from, which is Kali. So
beautiful.
Thank you. And we're all waves. We're all living the wave. So the key is figure out what wave you're on. What part of the wave are you? And remember the source at every stage that you're on.
Yeah, and the value of each piece. For example, if you're in that darkness, I had one teacher, Nishala Joy Devi, that used to say that the occult exists in the tamas, and that people like the darkness and inertia gets a sort of bad rap, but that there's such magic that happens. The sort of cocoon example is one that we've heard often, but people I love how you said recognize where you're at in that cycle, and that it continually happens. You can't be Lakshmi all the time. You're not Saraswati all the time. You're not Kali all the time. It has flux, because that is the nature of life, right? So that's beautiful. Yeah. So Todd, so you're going to be coming to Thrive December 1st through the 3rd. And we have 4 segments that you're going to be teaching. So I'll just read them out loud. So we have one Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. It's called Open Sky, Bask in Your Vastness. And then we have our Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12:30, Engage Earth, Become Grounded in Who You Are. Saturday, we have the 2 to 4:30 p.m. Align Water and Fire, Flow with What You Truly Desire. And then Sunday, we have a 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Expand into Fullness, breathe your dreams into reality, like all wonderful titles, like sign me up for all of them.
No, I want to take it.
Yeah, that's the idea. So would you mind just briefly maybe touching upon each of those little segments that you plan to teach? I think that would be exciting for our listeners.
Yes, it's going to be a beautiful journey. You can see like each of those sessions, the titles, they reflect on a certain sequence of evolution. And I teach a lot about the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and sky. And the Ashaya method actually takes those 5 elements and puts it into the body through the technique that I developed called the 4 essentials. And the 4 essentials are open, engage, align, expand. And they relate roughly to the 5 elements. So we start with the highest first, which is sky, to learn how to return to our being, to surrender and open to a bigger energy. And we really can't, our yoga doesn't really start until we're able to access the vastness of our being, to recognize it. And we'll do this by practicing the rasa adbhuta, which means how to be in a state of wonder and awe. And to do that, basically, we have to get out of our own way, because this life is awesome and life is a miracle. And just to see how we have been perfectly orchestrated by the universe to arrive in this moment, you and me, and also the listeners, they're coming at the absolute perfect moment in their lives, all orchestrated together to create more beauty and to bring insight and to help direct us back again and again back to our own hearts. So that's what we're going to be doing Friday night. And then we have a session on earth, because the sky remains transcendent without earth. It takes the mortal to experience the immortal. And this is the value of, like, earth is everything that the sky has. Earth is condensed sky. It's everything. We are everything that spirit has, but in condensed form, in pure potential form. So yoga is the key to how to tap and sort of chisel away the beautiful, Michelangelo's David is already contained in there. We just have to remove what's in the way, you know?
Oh, I love that analogy. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Remove the veil. And so we get grounded in who we truly are. And who we truly are is this ethereal, vast spirit made manifest. I like to say, you are the crystallization of the divine's desire to know itself. And it's just a precious state of being. And then we're going to take that and learn how to flow, because if you have too much earth, we tend to get rigid, kind of stubborn. We don't like to change. We like to stay with the familiar, even if it's bad for us, we'll do it. So water flows around obstacles. And we want to attune to water because, after all water returns to the ocean. We survived in water for close to 9 months, or sometimes less, sometimes more. In the womb, water's our element, and it's where life emerged. I don't believe life started in water. I believe life started in the stars. That's why we start with sky. We're star babies, meaning
star babies. I love that.
Star babies, because everything in the physical universe is formed by elements that come from the stars. This whole earth is put together. The iron and earth and granite and all that comes from stars. And so that's our source, that's our home. But life begins in water. So we use water to return, like to enhance our life and to flow. And then fire, the dance of water and fire. So fire is the element of alchemical transformation, because it's the first element that goes up. Earth is kind of prisoner of its form. Water only takes the shape of its container, but fire is free. It goes up, and it has the power to change your state. Earth turns into heat and light. Water turns into steam.
Mm,
I say, if you want to change your state, you need fire.
mm.
This is friction, because
Yes.
friction creates heat. And I always do like a deep core workout to get our heat going in the fire class.
A little bit of tapas.
Yes, and fires top us. That's beautiful. The austerity, the heat. So really the tapas in Tantra is not so much like, fasting and austerities, but it's the fire of longing for the divine. So
Mm,
we kind of stoke, like, where is your longing? Like, where is your motivation to live? Like to bring yourself more fully present? Because desire and motivation are absolutely needed to have this householder tantric yogi's life. And in the renunciate path, desire is really the source of all suffering, isn't it? So
yeah.
let's eliminate these desires. Oh, but in Tantra, desire is not part of the problem. Desire is the very source of the solution, because the universe desired to become you.
Mm,
And so we really elevate desire as something that we need. It's not that we it's not that we desire like to get happy or to get high. We don't desire enough to get free. And that's really what we're going for.
mm,
And then breathe your dreams into reality. Vayu, the air element, has this incredible position because it's positioned right in between us and the divine. And it's both voluntary and involuntary. And the breath becomes the medium that takes the dreams we carry in our heart and puts them into manifestation in reality. So
mm,
we literally breathe our dreams into reality. What you want, what you intend, that's what we tend to create.
mm.
So I just will be bringing more attention. How can we do that more consciously and more effectively?
Yeah, if people don't have a clear vision of like who they are and what they desire, then they're going to get mixed results, right? So it's this whole sort of journey that you've put together for the people at Thrive is allowing them to create that space, go through the steps, and then it's like, now what do you want to create in your life? Like, how do we do it? You have the technology, we know it. So then you can do
Yes.
that. That's beautiful, Todd.
Yes.
Ah. Well, I have really enjoyed our conversation. And again, if you're listening to this, and whether you're local or not, Todd Norian, he's an amazing teacher. As you now know from listening to the podcast, his book, Tantra Yoga, Journey to Unbreakable Wholeness, a memoir. He has other books available online. He has meditations, he has courses, he has teacher trainings. And what's the best way for people to find you, Todd, besides at Thrive December?
You can come to my website, which is ashayayoga.com. And I'm also a musician. I have a lot of music CDs, and those can be streamed everywhere. So just look that up under Todd Norian. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to coming and being with you. Like, we haven't really met in person yet, and you're such a delight. And I'm sure all of your students are delightful. And I've been teaching online as my only way of teaching for the last 3 years, and coming live in person has been the biggest awakening for me. To actually feel the presence and the heart of the student is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to sharing actual physical time and space and all those who might be listening now. So
Yeah, there's nothing that beats it. Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, Todd, thank you so much for being on the podcast. And we will be doing another podcast in just a few weeks. So if you listen to this and you're like, I want more, well, wish granted, we're going to be doing it again. So thank you so much again for your time, Todd. It's a pleasure as always. And we'll see you next time.
okay, thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Aaron@aaroncoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Thank you so much. Namaste.